Dear students, I wish you good luck in preparing for assignment number 2, where you have to critically review 2 of the debates that you've had over the second term and offer a reflection also at the end. Now, when we say reflect, of course, we're speaking in first person, and you can expect that you will want to speak about what were your expectations about the subject matter, what were you exposed to through the seminar material preparation and the seminar itself, and finally, what do you think? Now, many students may say, well, what if I choose 2 different debates that don't seem to have anything in common? How am I supposed to draw a conclusion? And here's how. Remember what we always call academic framing. And we have a number of academic frameworks that we have used that we call theoretical frameworks that we have used to help us think about what does it mean for business to operate in society. At the core of them are values, that we should create value. And so we can also look at these as value creation theories. We come up with words like sustainability. And of course, I'll just talk us through 3 areas and just give 3 examples that will help you to remember how you want to think about structuring your final assignment, but also how you need to hit certain milepoints to make sure that you achieve the highest grade. So first of all, the values. Fairness. We talk about fairness all along the supply chain. Now, in that, we have talked about the stakeholder theory because, of course, when we say fairness along the supply chain, we are indeed talking about all the people and resources that are involved from farm to fork, as they say, or from source to consumption. Are all of the people involved around those different areas of the supply chain, are they treated fairly? So, of course, at one end, we have sourcing. We think are the supplies sustainably gathered? Even are the people who are gathering those resources, are they sustainably treated insofar as are there fair labor treatments? Is there safety facilities and safety mechanisms for jobs that involve some measure of danger? And equally, is there fair pay? So these are the sorts of questions that we'd be asking ourselves about people all along the supply chain. At the opposite extreme, many students in their first assignments also spoke about the role of consumers, especially when it comes to the relationship between advertising and creating the desire for something that is just a commodity and creating this desire for something new constantly. We looked at several examples of this. We talked about fast fashion, fast food, and fast tech primarily. And I'll just speak about those and how that last one relates to the second of the third points that we'll get to. So fast food and fast fashion. We know that we have manufacturers who've created through advertising the constant want for something new, the constant want for the new phone, the new pair of jeans, the new t-shirt, and the styles or even the upgrades may be ever so slight, but the advertising and the social pressure that's created creates what we even call a debt culture, because we certainly do know that there are many people who go into debt just to consume commodities, not sort of things for sustainable living. Now, the other part of that, of course, is waste. Do we treat our resources, our natural resources, fairly? There are a number of theories that help us think about this because environmentalism has to be included into our fair treatment of people. And our fair treatment of people we think of in framing through the stakeholder theory. So if you think about community, for example, as a stakeholder, we certainly wouldn't want the natural resources of that community to be in any way degraded by the business operations of the local business, especially if that local business is providing jobs in providing goods and services for, again, the local people, let alone the global world. So the circular economy is both a strategy that the Ellen MacArthur Foundation created and promoted, but it's one that has not just been adapted by companies as grand as Apple, but also by governments and governmental institutions like the European Union. They use the circular economy to organize how they're going to invest in business opportunities, and they use their know-how and interconnectedness to also look for ways that waste from one industry can be a product that can be transformed into another usable commodity in another industry. And so, have you heard that saying, one man's Garbage is another man's treasure, or one man's rubbish, as you might say here in the UK, is another man's treasure. That ethic is based upon the fact that we should neither have waste in our natural or people resources. Now think of that, because that relates to the third of the 3 points, the people resources. So again, the circular economy is a business strategy that helps businesses look for ways to reduce, reuse, and recycle as a means of balancing their profitability in the short and long term, not only because their consumers are now demanding it, but also because now many people are able to see that their business operations can be more sustainable in the long run. And if they look at the long-term profitability, if they create equity along the supply chain. They have more loyalty with their customers, more loyalty with their workers. They have more mechanisms for feedback on both ends, so that when things do go wrong, they're able to be remedied and they don't have to go through a public disgrace or a scandal in order for things to be corrected along the way. And of course, with the many different stakeholders all along the supply chain, there are bound to be areas that need to be corrected in terms of fixing existing forms of exploitation, or even gaining what we call in social value and producing greater forms of equity, worker inclusion, worker decision making, and of course, fair pay. Now, the last one is I want us to think about the triple bottom line versus the bottom line. We know that the bottom line is the profit. But now, just like I was explaining, and this is the link from the second to the third, is we have to take an overall look at the consumer culture itself, because across all of these different industries, be it food, technology, fashion, energy, and how we see how they're all interrelated, we also understand that what's driving this is consumer culture itself, that consumers have this desire and want for something new in and of itself. And so the desire to shop and the will to shop and the ability to shop is seen as consumer power. Now, this has detrimental impacts on society. We know we look at fast fashion and the detrimental impact of a pair of jeans. How many gallons of water does it take to produce a pair of jeans from seed to slim cut? How many gallons of water also we think about in the food industry does it take to produce the fast food industry that we just consume and consume and consume and equally waste? And there are many people who are looking to close the loopholes in many ways. So literally looking at retailers and saying, how can we eliminate waste and make your products more efficient, and you only produce and give people as much food as they need, and how do we discourage consumers from wasting food and the whatnot. We also looked at grocers. So fast food has also entered our grocery stores with many convenience foods that are always packaged and double packaged in plastic and paper and things that are difficult to recycle. And that's where technology comes in. So we want to look at the different ways that we could use the two debates to highlight the values that are consistent throughout, and how we might use our knowledge of fairness towards stakeholders and fairness towards our resources as a means of gaining sustainability, how we might demonstrate through those two debates that there are either trends, but there are also existing obstacles, and perhaps what are some of the solutions or ways forward that you would predict. As always, choose a topic that you like, that you're interested in. As always, work with someone, have a classmate, a friend, do some editing for you, speak over your idea, and type editing for you, of course, at the end for any minor typos. Refer to the reference guide so that you include and credit those people that you think about when you build your arguments, that you include the theories that I've mentioned. So I've mentioned the stakeholder capitalism from Freeman. I've mentioned the circular economy from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. I've mentioned the triple bottom line, also from John Elkington, and I've also mentioned manufacturing desire, manufacturing consent, which comes from Chomsky. And so these are just a range of theories that you could use to both frame your work and also help you to draw a conclusion and a way forward. What are some solutions? Good luck, and please do write in with any questions.